Michaela Chester here with NCAA Digital. I've got Wayne Cavadi here with me today, our D2 expert for NCAA.com. Wayne did his prediction for the D2 football bracket, basically picked every single playoff game down to the national champion. I'm sure it wasn't easy, Wayne, but I'm going to have you take me through some of the top storylines from your bracket prediction. Can you first take me through a game to watch in each super regional?
Yeah, I mean, I've been waiting for this championship for so long. Every game is one to watch for me, but I will narrow it down for you. Looking over, start with Super Region One, and right off the bat, you have what was basically a rematch of the Northeast 10 championship game in New Haven versus Bentley. New Haven won that game the first time around. They got the 4 seed, and Bentley will be on the road playing the rematch. And, last time it was the top offense of the Northeast 10 in Bentley against the top defense again in New Haven. So last time defense prevailed. We'll see what happens in the tournament. Moving on to Super Region 2, of course, you have the reigning national champion, West Florida there. But the game I really want to watch is Bowie State versus Lenoir-Rhyne. Bowie State was the only other undefeated team in D2 play this year. Jonathan Ross, Joseph Murray, and Joshua Pryor are nightmares that apply pressure on defense. They cause turnovers, and this team has a secondary that is almost like a second offense. It scores touchdowns. It led D2 with 7 defensive scores. But on the other side, you have one of the hottest offenses in the nation in Lenoir-Rhyne that has a quarterback and a coach that are tournament tested. And I think this is really Lenoir-Rhyne being one of those sleeper teams, just snuck in under the radar, going against a really good Bowie State team. I think this game has all the makings of an instant classic. But we do need to watch Albany State in Super Region 2. They're playing with heavy hearts after the loss of Adonis Butler 3 weeks ago. Tragically died in an accident. The very next game, they won 57-0, and his number was 57. If this team is motivated by him, they haven't allowed it to score since, and they have a favorable matchup against the West Georgia team they've beaten before. Moving on to Super Region 3, I really like this Grand Valley State versus Lindenwood matchup. If you followed my Power 10 this season, you know what I like most about Grand Valley State, and that's its incredible depth. It makes it impossible for any defense to focus on one player. If you figure out the starting running back, their fourth string running back is going to have 100 yards. You just can't stop them. And plus, the Lakers have shown they could score point after point against one of the toughest schedules in all of D2. But then you flip the coin, and Lindenwood hasn't lost a game since week 2. The last time around in 2019, the Lions improved from a 4-win team to a tournament team, and I didn't think they had it in them, and I went against them, and they pulled off the upset. So how do I go against them this time? I don't know exactly who wins this game, and that's why I think it's going to be such a great one to watch. And then lastly, in Super Region 4, you have Western Colorado versus Nebraska Kearney. And for one cool factor about this is that Nebraska Kearney is, of course, a Super Region 3 team, but due to the newer rules, they were allowed to move regions and play a matchup that they're not familiar with. So I think that adds a little bit to it. On one side, for the Lopers, you have TJ Davis. The Lopers quarterback is simply just one of the most exciting players to watch in all of D2 football. He can throw it when he has to, but he's clearly a threat with his legs, and he has shown time and time again that if you give him the ball in the last minute, he's going to beat you. But the Mountaineers are making their first appearance since 1997, and if you think about that, the current players on this team weren't born. So if you want a storyline to watch, that's it right there. That's just something to watch right there. I think it's a really cool storyline. I think it's a great matchup. Western Colorado has a great defense against, as I said, one of the best offenses in D2. But that extra storyline, I think, makes it a game to watch.
All great storylines and games. You made your picks. Can you tell us your semifinal prediction?
It's definitely hard this year. I mentioned on the show last night on the selection show that Ferris State's the only undefeated team going into the tournament, overall undefeated, and we're 2 years removed from an all undefeated national championship game. Having this few undefeated teams is a rarity when the tournament starts. So I think it shows how deep this field is. So I expect me to be pretty wrong with these picks, but I'm going to do it anyway. I see Shepherd coming out of Super Region 1. The last 3 years, the number 1 seed has advanced. I know I'm going against historical odds there and trends. But Shepherd's the number two. I think their offense is the best in D2, and I think it's going to be really hard to catch them. And if they do get to play Kutztown, the Kutztown beat them their only loss earlier this year, so revenge is going to be on the mind. Super Region 2, I'm not going against West Florida, right? Nobody, they just beat a very, very good and previously undefeated Valdosta State team. They could beat anybody in the nation. Super Region 3, I'm going with the only undefeated team left in D2 football, and that's Ferris State. They've been to the semifinals, I believe it's 3 out of the last 4 years now. So how do you not think that they're going to get back there again? And then in Super Region 4, it's a very interesting look this year. A lot of the heavyweights like Minnesota State, Texas A&M Commerce, Colorado State Pueblo, the guys that we've seen there for 3-4 years running, they're not there this year. So I'm going to go a little crazy, and I'm going to go with that offense of Bemidji State and put them in the semifinals this year.
All right, so the hardest question of them all, Wayne, who wins it all?
I think the championship game, Ferris State was in the championship game against Valdosta State in 2018. That was the battle of the undefeateds, and Valdosta State came through. This year, I think it's going to be West Florida versus Ferris State. I predicted West Florida when the season started. They were my preseason pick. They have one loss. They've beat just about every competition that's been thrown their way. They won their first conference championship. This is a team that kind of resets the bar, resets a new standard of excellence every time they set a foot on the field. So why not add a repeat championship to that new bar of excellence, right? So I think Ferris State may be the best overall team in D2 football right now, and it's tough to pick against them, but it's also tough to go against the defending champs.
All right, your entire bracket predicted. We'll see how it all plays out. Wayne, thanks so much for joining me and breaking it down.
Thanks for having me, as always.